your breath away. They are ladies, artfully seductive, graphically sensual. They will assault your senses. They are incorporated. They will bend your mind, shatter your sanity, and seal your fate. Lethal ladies Inc. Try us on for size. We will take your breath away. Lethal. They will take your breath away. They are ladies, artfully seductive, graphically sensual. They will assault your senses. They are incorporated.
Loyal. Spin the wheel, throw down the gauntlet. Evil dead shit accepts the challenge. Thrills and chills, action and explosions, laughter and hijinks, all are welcome here. Step right up, don't be shy, it's okay to make me cry. Fun and games, torture and pain, which will it be? Spin the wheel and play Movie Roulette. Spin the wheel and play Movie Roulette. Spin the wheel and play Movie Roulette. Thrills and chills, action and explosions, laughter and hijinks, all are welcome here. Spin the wheel, don't be shy, it's okay to make me cry. Fun and games, torture and pain, which will it be? Spin the wheel and play Movie Roulette.
Howdy, gang, and welcome to the premiere episode of A Night, or I was going to read off the titles, of Movie Roulette. I've been sick today, so folks, just look over me. But this is the premiere episode of Movie Roulette, and just to let you guys and gals know that may not be aware of this, and you can even give me a movie to review during this stream, because it is a live stream. But during any live streams, that includes watch alongs. If you give a $5 or more super chat, you can pick any movie of your choosing for me to do a review on an episode of Movie Roulette. So I really wasn't getting anybody that was getting in on this. So I asked Steve, I said, the Changeling, Tom, I will do that if you can give $5 or more. That's the I'm not trying to be a stickler, but this is something that's going to help me out a little bit, and will help out you guys in the balance, because you will get to pick any movie for me to do a review on, which I would be happy to do. The Changeling, all you got to do is give it at least $5 super chat, and I will do that. I'll do that on an upcoming one. So again, that's how it works. You give a $5 or more super chat during any live stream, including watch alongs, and you can pick any movie for me to do a review on. on one of these upcoming movie roulette streams. So tonight we have A Night to Dismember, which was picked by Steve, because I was telling Steve, I said, nobody's really, picking movies. I know Menelek gave me $7, but he didn't have a movie that he wanted to pick. So I thought, how are we going to kick this off? So Steve picked the first one I'm going to talk about tonight, which is A Night to Dismember. And then Menelek came back a little bit later and gave me another $7 super chat. And I was like, well, I said, Menelek, the super chat you gave before would have been good enough. But, bless his heart, he gave another $7 and he suggested Sign. So that's the M. Night Shyamalan film. And I'm going to be talking about that one as well. I'm going to be giving my rating on each of these. Going to be talking about a little bit about what I liked, what I didn't like about them. And then that'll be that for this episode. Just to let you know what we got coming up this week. Tomorrow night, I should be doing another Dick's Fix. I'm trying to watch both of the movies, which is The Yin and the Yang of Mr. Go, which I watched today, and The Daughter of Emmanuel, which I don't, I'm really thrilled about watching that one because I didn't like the Emmanuel movies with Laura Gimser anyway. I realize there's sexploitation at their finest, but the Emmanuel movies with Laura Gimser or otherwise have never been my cup of tea. But as I'm going through all of these movies that Dick Randall has produced, that was one that came up. So if I can't find it to watch, I will have to skip over that one and go to the next one in line and see if I can find a copy of it to watch. So I'm trying to see if Steve can get a copy of it for me to watch. If not, I will have to make a slight change in the Dick's Picks for tomorrow. Now, Wednesday, it's kind of up in the air. I want to do a cannon fodder where I'll be talking about Hot Bubble Gum, which is one of the Lemon Popsicle movies, and Silent Night, Bloody Night, also known as Death House. I think I've got it reversed in the thing. But so one Lemon Popsicle movie, one horror movie that I will be covering for cannon fodder, unless we get really bad storms again. Now, we had some bad storms last night. Hail and wind and rain and a bunch of lightning and thunder and all that stuff. And even at least one confirmed tornado in Louisville. It wasn't in our area, thankfully, but they say we're in for another round of this stuff Wednesday. So if it, if it's storming that bad, I may try to do it later. Unless it just goes on all night, in which case I'll probably just have to cancel and reschedule it for the following week. Hopefully that won't happen, but I just wanted to let y'all know ahead of time. Thursday, there will be They're All Messed Up. And I'm going to be talking about a couple more slasher films. One of them, I think, is part slasher film, part porno. So I don't know about that one, called the Jekyll and Hyde Portfolio. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I'm not big on pornos either. But if it's got some slashing in it, hey, I'll do my best to watch it. Friday, I've got to talk to Candace, but hopefully we can do another Friday Foolish. I've got an idea. I've got to run it by Candace and see if, one, she's going to be able to do Friday Foolish, and two, if she likes the idea I came up with. So I'm going to keep that under wraps, kind of give y'all a little bit of a surprise with that. Saturday and Sunday, it's a watch along weekend, folks. It's a full watch along weekend, and you guys and gals have stepped up to the plate and picked a couple of movies. Y'all have already gotten in on the polls that I put up now. We've got a tie with both of them, I believe, now of 50% for a couple of the movies on each of the nights. So get on in there, do a tiebreaker or whatever, and we'll be moving and grooving when it comes the next weekend that I do those. But you guys and gals pick through the polls. Graduation day will be for Saturday's watch along starting at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Sunday's watch along will be April Fool's Day in honor of April. I know it'll be after April Fool's Day, but we're still going to have April Fool's Day. I was hoping that you guys and gals would pick that one. But I didn't know for sure. So graduation day on Saturday, April Fool's Day on Sunday, both starting at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. And also, I want to remind everybody, again, I'm not a person that likes to get on here and beg for subscribers or anything. But let me tell you, folks, if you're enjoying the content I'm putting out here, then it costs you absolutely nothing to subscribe. It costs you absolutely nothing to like videos and streams I put up. It costs you absolutely nothing to click on that notification bell so you don't miss any of the content that I'm putting out. Okay, so those are, things that are absolutely free that will help my channel. It will help bump it up in the algorithms and all of those things. So if you haven't subscribed and you like my content that I'm putting out, please subscribe. Please like the videos and the streams. It bumps them up in YouTube's algorithms, folks. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss one video or stream that I put out. Okay. I just put a movie Munchies out. Not too many people have watched it yet. For Scooby and Shaggy's Colossal Sandwich and Velma's Jinkies Lemonade, also known as Lost My Glasses Lemonade. If you're at all interested in the movie Munchie stuff I do, hop on over to that video after the stream and take a look at it. If you got friends and family that you think might enjoy this content that I'm putting out, please share my channel with them. Okay. And also another way you can support me and my endeavors is by going over to deaditesondeck.com, my horror shop. Tell them Poe sent you. And again, Poe is my official mascot for the Deadites on Deck horror shop at deaditesondeck.com. Hop on over there. I got a couple of promotions going on. You can buy one candle, get one free using Candle Craze 25 promo code at checkout. A second promo that I've got going on is if you spend $30 or more, you can get $10 off your entire order using the Slasher Spring 25 promo code at checkout. I've got t-shirts, I got tote bags, I've got hats, I've got candles, I've got teas, blended teas, that is, not t-shirts, but I do have t-shirts. Some new designs are coming. New Lethal Ladies design, which is me and Candace's collaborative efforts, where we're going to combine our talents. And when we start selling at conventions, hopefully that's going to be sooner rather than later. So we couldn't be two separate entities when we're selling together. So we came up with the Lethal Ladies Incorporated, or Lethal Ladies Inc. There are some Poe designs coming up if y'all are fans of Poe, my official mascot for the Deadites on Deck shop. Okay, so, also keep in mind, if you're not a horror fan, I do custom work. All you got to do is fill out the form on the main page of the shop and let me know what you'd want. I can put your kids, your grandkids, you and your significant other, your pets on t-shirts and hats and even candles if you want, tote bags, whatever. Just send me what you want and we'll see what we can do. Okay. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and get to these movies, shall we? Um, the first one is directed by Doris Wishman. I don't know how many of you guys and gals that are watching this are familiar with Doris Wishman, but Doris Wishman started out doing a lot of those movies that Joe Bob refers to as nudie cuties, which were those nudist camp films. And those of you that have been watching the Dick's Picks, a lot of the earlier Dick Randall produced movies were those types of films. So Doris Wishman kind of switched gears with The Night to Dismember, only I think her main actress in this was an adult film actress. So, she still was, the adult stars and stuff like that were still in the middle of her films. And I'm not saying the nudist camp films had porno stars in them. I'm just saying, she didn't stray far from the nudity thing, just two different sides of the nudity thing. So, I mean, the cover looks awesome, doesn't it? For the DVD. And, if I saw this in a video store and I was just looking at it, I would say, well, that's a possible thing that I might like, and I would probably rent it. But, whoa, movie watchers, whoa, beware of this movie. Beware of this movie, okay? They've even got that lucrative warning that makes everybody that's a horror fan want to watch something. Warning, this film contains scenes of extreme violence and gore. Yeah, you've got violence and gore, and I don't know if I would call it extreme. But the movie really doesn't have much else going for it. And, you may be thinking, well, Dana, you've talked about horror films and how they really don't have to make sense and they really don't this and that. Yeah, but this one is completely nonsensical. It's not like an Argento film that is grotesquely beautiful, has fantastic death scenes in it. Maybe the plot doesn't always make sense, but the overall whole of the film is great. Okay. That's not the case with The Night to Dismember. So, what is this about? Okay. This is essentially about the Kent family. And the movie opens with a kind of a wraparound type of story where members of one of the Kent families, there's like two different Kent families we're talking about. We talk about one Kent family at the beginning, and then we talk about the brothers family. Okay. So this wraparound story at the beginning tells the story of one of the Kent families, and the wife is killed off, and the two daughters are killed off, and it seems to be like a jealousy thing and all that one daughter killed the other, and then somebody killed the mother, and then we find out that the father killed them all. And then we switch gears and we go to Vicky Kent's family. And Vicky Kent was put in an asylum supposedly after she killed these boys, these young men who were, I guess, apparently she saw them playing around in a graveyard, and she followed them into a cave and she killed them, and they sent her away to an asylum. And so now she's getting out of the asylum, and her parents come to get her, and like the movie The movie's not well made at all. And Steve told me that there is, I think, an uncut version or an extended version, or I think it's actually the original version. He said you don't even want to try to attempt to watch that because that doesn't make sense at all. It makes even less sense than the version that was released. Okay. So, stay far, far away from that one. And in my opinion, you might want to stay far, far away from this one. Um, so Vicky Kent is played by Samantha Fox, who, if you don't know who Samantha Fox is, she's the hardcore legend. She's the adult film actress that is in this. And I'm like, okay, and okay. So we keep thinking that, maybe Vicky is back to her old tricks again and she's killing off people around town and killing off, members of her family and stuff like that. And I'm not gonna lie, there's, a couple of good gore scenes. And I can say it's got that going for it. But other than that, the movie really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's still hard to follow even in this form. Um, and a lot of times you're like, well, what exactly am I watching here? And I guess we're watching and I hate to say this about another woman, but we're watching one woman's ego trip, in my opinion. And that woman is Doris Wishman. Doris Wishman, she's a one woman show basically. She wrote, she produced, she directed, and edited all her films in a career spanning 4 decades. Okay, 4 decades, folks. Um, she, didn't want anything to do with major studios, which I honestly I cannot imagine any major studios approaching Doris Wishman saying, "Hey, would you like to come work for us?" Like, just just thinking about the stuff that Doris Wishman has put out, I could not imagine it. Um, she suppressed the conventions of mainstream culture, which again is normally a good thing. I like to see when people forge ahead and they're making their own path and all that, and they don't get sucked into that mainstream Hollywood mumbo jumbo. But again, it it didn't smile on Doris Wishman or her products. I don't think. Um, so they even say on the back of this thing, she went on to produce one of the more idiosyncratic worldviews ever committed to film. So, and here's something else strange. Elite Entertainment put this out. Now, for those of you that remember Elite Entertainment, they did do releases like I Spit on Your Grave and stuff like that. And I Spit on Your Grave is an exploitation movie. It's a, can't use the R word, but it's one of those and revenge films. Because I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube, and evidently you can't mention that because it could be taken out of context. So the R word and revenge films. So if you know what I Spit on Your Grave is, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Thriller, Cruel Picture was one of those. There have been several of those over the years that have been made. Okay. So Elite Entertainment put out I Spit on Your Grave. They did a release of I Spit on Your Grave. So I can't say that they always put like top of the line stuff out. They did do lower budget exploitation movies, but to me, there's a huge difference between I Spit on Your Grave and A Night to Dismember. A Night to Dismember is pure schlock, in my opinion. And, you know, it had been a while since I'd watched it. And I think the only times I've ever watched it is with Steve. And so we sat down and we rewatched this um, a few days ago. And I felt pretty much the same way about it as I did several years ago when I watched it. So, yeah, not much more that I can say about A Night to Dismember, but I will give it a rating. And I'm sorry, folks. I'm just not going to be able to give this one more than 2 deadites out of 5. I just can't. Um, yeah. So that's all she wrote on A Night to Dismember. You can try it out if you like. However, I would not recommend spending money on it. Steve, bless his heart, Steve spent money on this thing. But sometimes he likes that schlocky stuff. So the other one, I cannot find my DVD copy of Signs. So Steve got me a HD version of it to watch. That was Menelek's pick. Again, bless your heart, Menelek. Thank you for the $7 super chat. I hope you will watch this on the replay if you're not in here watching right now. Because this was your movie. I want to make sure you hear me talk about it. Now, apparently, it had been several years since I had seen Signs. Okay. And I forgot how good this film was. I really, really did. And bless Menelek's heart also for picking this one, because I know he has no idea what I've been going through for a few months. And I have been depressed and, just depressed over different things. But I'm not going to get so on to myself. But what I had forgotten, one of the main things I had forgotten about Signs was that it's about faith. It's about a man, at its core, it's about a man losing his faith in God and regaining his faith by the end of the film. Now, it has to do with aliens, yes, but I think at its core, I feel like that it's about faith. Not in the same way that that William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist, when William Friedkin kept talking about it's about faith and at the core of The Exorcist, even though it's a horror movie, it's about faith. And I just felt like Signs on another level was about faith, because we have Mel Gibson's character, who everybody in the town keeps calling him Father because he was a reverend. And his wife we find out that his wife is dead because she was walking in the evening and the town veterinarian fell asleep at the wheel. He wasn't drunk or anything, but he fell asleep at the wheel and ended up hitting her and pinning her between his truck and a tree, where literally that was the only thing holding her body together. So we find out through flashbacks that he arrives and she's still alive. And he's, he asked the cop, he says, "This is going to be the last time I talk to my wife, isn't it?" And she said, "Yes, it is." So, so needless to say, after that, his character of Graham becomes disillusioned with God. He becomes angry with God. He turns away from God. He tells everybody, "I'm not a reverend anymore. Please stop calling me Father." And so he's raising his 2 kids by himself, with a little help from his brother. played by Joaquin Phoenix. And all of a sudden, the most extraordinary thing happens one morning. They can't find the kids. So Graham and his brother go out into the cornfields and they find the kids, and then they find something else. Not really crop circles. They look kind of like crop circles, but they've got little, symbols on them. And they find out through watching television that these symbols, or whatever they are, have showed up in various places all over the world. And so this most extraordinary thing that has happened quickly turns to fear when they realize that these extraterrestrial beings, they showed up, they show on the news, they show these ships in the sky and stuff like that, and everybody's terrified because Graham's son gets a book from the bookstore about aliens, and they say, basically there could be two reasons why the aliens would come. One, they're friendly and they're wanting to interact with us. Or two, they want to harvest our resources because they've used up all the resources on their planet, and now they're looking to find other resources on Earth. And basically the humans that are living on the planet Earth are expendable. They could kill them. So Graham's son, that's what he thinks is, they're bad. And so the movie progresses further and further with these creatures, these extraterrestrial creatures, getting closer and closer and closer, and getting closer to Graham's family's house. And then they get into the house, and you see changes happen to the family. You see Graham's son tell his father he hates him at the dinner table near the end of the film, because they pretty much think, this is going to be our last dinner together, okay, as a family. They, I guess, are convinced at this point that the aliens are going to destroy them and take whatever they have. So they want to spend their last few moments together and have a nice dinner. So Graham basically says, whatever you want. His daughter wants spaghetti. His son wants French toast and mashed potatoes. And, so they're sitting there, and, Graham is still, he's still angry at God at this point. He has completely lost his faith in God. Why did God let his wife die? And he's also angry because he thinks that God is going to let his son die. His son has asthma, and there's one scene where they have quickly boarded themselves up in a room and realize they've forgotten his son's asthma medicine, his asthma inhaler. And you actually see Graham at that point where he's, please don't do this to me again. And that he's talking to God. And it's heartbreaking. And so after everybody gets mad at the dinner table, and his son tells him he hates him, and his brother Merrill is saying, Graham, like, wake up, dude, don't do this to your family. And Graham yells at his daughter Bo and says, stop crying, because both his son and his daughter are crying at this point in time. And then everybody comes to Graham and they all hug, even Meryl does. And I got teary eyed. I'm not going to lie about it. And I think this was something, again, I know Men Elect didn't know. You don't know what another person's going through or anything like that unless they tell you. But I needed to see this movie again. And I think that this was the time for me to see the movie. So I'm so glad that, one, that Men Elect brought that up as his choice for me to do a review on this episode of Movie Roulette. And I'm also glad that I got to experience this movie again. And I'll be totally honest, when it first started, I thought Rory Culkin, Macaulay Culkin's brother, who looks almost exactly like him, talks almost exactly like him, plays Graham's son in the movie. And at first I thought, why are, people talking like they're stunted or something, or somebody stunned them? There was another character, I guess an army recruiting guy, who was talking like that. And so then I got to thinking about it. Is are the aliens making people do that? Or did M. Night Shyamalan tell people to act that way? Perhaps he did. The other thing that really disturbed me, because when you kill animals in the film, even though I know they didn't really kill the animals in the film, this isn't like one of those cannibal movies. There's a scene where the dog is being affected by the aliens, and he tries to attack Bo, and her brother has to put a knife in the chest of this dog, Houdini, one of their pet dogs. And I was like, oh man, I forgot about that. But despite those things, the movie is very well made. I'm not even going to take a dead eye off for the death of the dog in the movie. But again, I really needed to see this movie at this point in time. And I was just amazed at, again, how well made it was. This is when M. Night Shyamalan was still at the top of his form. I don't know what happened to him later, perhaps what happened to a lot of directors. And this may be, and I know we're not talking about Unbreakable, but this may make people totally pissed off when I say this. But I did not like Unbreakable. I hated Unbreakable. And I've tried watching it again and I still don't like it. Now, if somebody picks it, for me to do one of these movie relays for, of course I'll watch it again. But Steve, he loves it. A lot of other people say that they love Unbreakable. That's their favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie. And I'm like, why? Like, I just don't get the same feeling from Unbreakable. And it's not the same type of movie. It's not a horror movie. It's not a thriller movie, really. And so I'm guessing that I like M. Night Shyamalan's other types of movies and don't like Unbreakable. I'm not the hugest fan of like superhero type stuff anyway. And to me, that movie was like a superhero movie or a mutant movie, like I don't know, like Professor X and stuff like that, those mutants. There are a few superhero type things that I like, but they're few and far between. I think in the last few years we've had an overkill of superhero stuff. I think it's time to give something else a chance. But, they keep making money, so they're going to keep, churning them out. So, but Signs was still M. Night Shyamalan at the top of his game, in top form. And if you've never seen Signs, I would highly recommend it. Again, don't go out and spend your hard-earned cash on it, okay? But if you can find it for a free copy to watch, I say check it out. If it's been a while since you watched it and you already own it, hey, pull that sucker back off the shelf and give it another try. And for all of those reasons, I'm going to go ahead and give this one 5 deadites out of 5. I was going to give it 4, but I'm like, what the hey? You know, give it 5 deadites out of 5. I think it's worth it. Check it out if you've never seen it, if you can find it for a free copy. If it's been a while since you've seen it, like I say, pull that sucker back off your shelf and give it another watch. And once again, I want to thank both Steve and Melect for picking films so I could kick off the premiere episode of Movie Roulette. I should be back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Dick's Picks. I don't know if it's definitely going to be the yin and the yang of Mr. Go. But I'm not sure if I'm going to be talking about the daughter of Emmanuel or I'm going to be talking about something different. So y'all stay tuned for that. And as always, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Monday, folks. And I'll see everybody next time.